On this episode of Law Weekly, we bring you highlights from the recently concluded 2024 Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association with the theme, Pressing Forward, a National Posture for Rebuilding Nigeria. The week-long hybrid event, which played host to over 16,000 legal practitioners, started on August 23rd and ended on August 28th. It featured very interesting and contemporary discussions on issues affecting not only lawyers, but also the country. On this episode of Law Weekly, we'll bring you some of the interesting conversations from the event. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Shola Shrieli. Lagos State played host to the Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association this year, with a hotel and suites and the Tafawa Balewa Square chosen as the venues for the event. This is the opening ceremony of the conference, and it attracted key stakeholders from the three arms of government, as well as traditional rulers, business leaders, and more, who joined the lawyers. Lagos State played host to the Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association this year, with a hotel and suites and the Tafawa Balewa Square chosen as the venues for the event. This is the opening ceremony of the conference, and it attracted key stakeholders from the three arms of government, as well as traditional rulers, business leaders, and more, who joined the lawyers. In his welcome remarks, the 31st President of the NBA, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Yakubu Mekiel, shed light on why the association had chosen the theme, Pressing Forward, a National Posture for Rebuilding Nigeria.
Last year, the theme of the conference was Getting It Right, charting the course for Nigeria's nation building. It explored key aspects of nation building from the perspective of security, economy, and the administration of justice. The decision to broaden the conversation beyond a typical law conference was made in recognition of the interconnectivity of the various factors influencing Nigeria's progress. The insights and outcomes gleaned from these engagements have served as tools for our continued dialogue with government and other relevant stakeholders in Nigeria's nation building, for ourselves as an association and on behalf of the people of our dear country. This year, we aim to build on the progress achieved through last year's conversations and subsequent collaborations with government and other stakeholders within and outside Nigeria. We as legal practitioners can learn from this, remind ourselves of the noble call upon us to provide guidance to the people in protecting their rights and advancing the cause of our nation, to remain focused, resolute, and fix our gaze on the lofty goals of this call, which only the legal profession is privileged to undertake. This explains the design of the conference theme, which displays an eagle carrying aloft on its wings the insignia of the Nigerian Bar Association. The symbolism is a clear reminder of our role in the society and our duty to the people of Nigeria, and that we can only deliver on this all-important assignment if we assume the posture and traits of an eagle. The eagle in Nigeria's coat of arms signifies strength, and Nigeria is a country of tremendous strength. We see that in personalities like Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala.
The keynote speaker, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, tasked political office holders to stop looting the nation's treasury.
Nigerians have seen for years how organized crude oil theft on a massive scale seriously undermines the economic and financial health of the country. All Nigerians must agree that stealing of our national assets of any type is intolerable and must be stopped. How can we be struggling to see how to strengthen our foreign exchange reserves with the governor of the central bank working so hard on this, when so much is being lost through oil theft? There is so much technology available now to track such theft, and there must be no more excuses for inaction. Theft of electricity cables is another rampant and very dangerous form of pilfering of national assets. I can share two personal experiences. 2 weeks ago, the cables near our house in the village, in Omoda Isingu, were caught, depriving our house and all the other houses in the village of electricity. They were caught and stolen. Yesterday, my husband called me from Abuja that there had been a major explosion near his clinic in Warimpa. And what was it? Some people cut the cables linked to the transformer, and the transformer exploded. They barely escaped with their lives. This kind of taking and stealing of national assets is unbelievably dangerous for those doing it. And it must be a mark of desperation and failure to see the bigger picture that leads people to do this. I'm pleading with all Nigerians that this has to stop. It's even endangering your own life to engage in this type of act. The second element of the social contract involves the basic organs of the economy. They should be left to work so as to produce the best economic and social results for the country. All political parties and politicians, all Nigerians must agree that these elements we identify and others to be added as forming the social contract must be respected by all who govern, no matter their politics, for the good of those they govern. You, the NBA, the biggest gathering of lawyers in the world, the largest, most influential civil society organization in Nigeria, you bear a heavy responsibility to advocate for and ensure that this social contract comes about. My question to you is, are you ready?
The host governor, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, rose to the challenge. He asked everyone to play their role in nation building.
We that are in public service and the people, it's just that we are two different sides of the coin. Both of us have a role to play. Both of us have a job to do. You, the lawyers, that today you said you have the largest number of legal luminaries in the world. By extension, Lagos State government also has the largest law firm in the country, because with over almost 500 lawyers in Lagos State Judiciary, we're also one of the largest. But it's not about that. It's about how well are we ready to take on the challenge that Aunty Ngozi has left us with this evening. Mazi, you have a job to do. It's no longer the outgoing NPA president, but it's now your own job. How do we take this forward so that it's not just a talk show? How do we ensure that all the numbers and all the suggestions that you have laid for this evening is not just another talk show? How do we ensure that all of us in this room have a role to play? Back in the green room before she came, she said to me, Mr. Governor, it's nice to see you again. By the way, I still pay my tax. She's 70-year-old and she lives in 2 countries and she still pays her tax. I did not need to ask her. She volunteered and said to me that she still pays her tax. The question I ask you this evening is not me eating the tax, but it's you paying the tax and paying the adequate tax that you mentioned. And as legal practitioners, how well are you also positioning and telling your clients to do the same? And like you have said, let us transparently also put accountability out there. The Attorney General has just won a celebrated case in which local government autonomy and giving them what they require has been decided by the Supreme Court. Lagos State once is one of the states that for 5 years I have not touched 1 kobo of local government money. And so for us, it's not just that we're reacting to what the Supreme Court has done. It's because we are ready. We want to stand, be accounted, and be seen as being ready. But we don't want to be the one that is ready. We want every state in the country to be ready. We want every tribe in the nation to be ready. We want every profession in the nation to be ready. We want every man, woman, young or old to be ready, because it's only when all of us are ready that Nigeria is ready.
The Attorney General and Minister of Justice expressed his readiness to collaborate with all stakeholders on issues that affect the socio-economic development of Nigerians.
I have said that improved remuneration for us is not the beginning and the end of our intervention in the judiciary. We are keen to work collaboratively with all institutions of government that other issues that are crucial to strengthening the capacity of our judiciary are dealt with expeditiously. You may also please recall my several stated commitment to public interest litigation. The Federal Ministry of Justice under my watch will continue to provide support to issues that touch on the socio-economic and political development of Nigeria. We will not simply be spectators in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration's efforts to set Nigeria on an irreversible path towards socio-economic growth. It is for this reason that we provided the leadership and support to citizens' agitation for local government autonomy. I am pleased to report that following the landmark decision of the Supreme Court, we have moved closer to fulfilling the aspiration of Nigerians for local government structure that serves our people at the grassroots.
When the Vice President mounted the podium, he spoke about the various policies of the federal government geared at improving the growth and economy of Nigeria.
The President has already set the ball rolling. In the past 3 months in office, the albatross round the Nigerian neck is the fuel subsidy. And we know the consequences of unveiling a masquerade. He withdrew the fuel subsidy that was hemorrhaging the Nigerian economy in his first day in office. Beyond that, the collapse of the multiple exchange rate regime that provided an opaqueness and room for corruption was also one of the monumental decisions of the Tinubu administration. And most importantly, the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform, headed by one of the best accountants in this country, Tayo Odedele, to harmonize all our taxes to bring them into single-digit taxation system, is worthy of mention. But Dr. Ngodi Iweala, you have done well. You have done justice to what is needed in this country. But as Goethe, the German philosopher, said, let every man sweep the front of his own door and the whole world will be clean. The lawyers, you also have a role to play in bringing about equity, justice, fairness, inclusivity, and economic growth.
After his speech, the Vice President declared the conference open.
It was published in July.
The very next day, Monday, August the 26th, delegates and participants to the conference were back at the venue for discussions on the economy and the need to transform the African continent. The guest speaker, former President of Ghana, John Mahama, urged the lawyers to take a more active role in addressing structural challenges facing the continent.
It is your duty as legal persons to advocate for and implement legal mechanisms that enable free movement of our people and goods across our borders, while addressing the legitimate security concerns associated with that. Tirelessly to harmonize our immigration laws, recognize professional qualifications across our member states, and establish robust systems for the mutual recognition of judgments and arbitral awards. For your profession, the implementation of the African continental area opens up new opportunities and responsibilities. You must proactively adapt your legal education and practice to meet the needs of an integrated African market. This involves developing expertise in international trade law, cross-border disputes, and comparative African. It also means establishing Pan-African law firms and legal networks that are capable of serving clients in various countries across the continent, and thereby fostering a truly African legal ecosystem.
The Senate president in his address said Nigerians needed new mindsets to rebuild the country.
We believe strongly that there is no stain in our country that we cannot erase, create jobs, improve living standards for our citizens, and bring about total security in the nation. We are focused on strengthening the security infrastructure to ensure that all Nigerians can live in peace and safety. So, distinguished learned colleagues, let this year's conference transcend the notion of a mere event. Let it become a movement, one that seeks to inspire, innovate, and ignite a passion for a paradigm shift across the entirety of our dear country, and even in West Africa.
Welcome back. One of the keynote sessions featured a fireside conversation with the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Lateef Fagbemi, moderated by the former Attorney General of Ekiti State, Olawale Fapounda, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. The session dwells on the Justice Sector Reform Plan of the AGF and his team.
In respect to the fight against corruption.
Moderated by the former Attorney General of Ekiti State, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Olawale Fapounda, the session dwelt on the Justice Sector Reform Plan of the AGF and his team.
There are some things you embark upon without making any noise.
Among other issues, the AGF speaks about rule of law, enforcement of court judgments, and the anti-corruption agenda of the government.
I am not in support of media trial. I don't want to judge the performance of these agencies, whether ICPC or EFCC, by how many convictions they have secured. Oh, they have not tried Mr. X, they have not tried Mr. Y. Much as I am for prosecution of corruption cases, I am also against the idea of when a political office holder leaves office, the first thing you do is you invite him, whether or not you have any case against him. I would rather that you conduct a very thorough investigation along the line of agencies like FBI. They can be on your trail for years and you won't know. The day they say the game is up, or you have a knock on your door and you ask, who are you? And you have a response, we are members or people from FBI. Of course, you have your right, according to them, and generally, to call your lawyers. So, in the United States, I don't go there, but I want to talk to my attorney. They will ask you to talk to your attorney. But when you talk to your attorney, you will not be talking about anything but how he will negotiate. That is why plea bargain succeeds more there than here.
Members of the AGF's team also took turns to speak about key areas of deployment of technology, reform of the correction centers, and the prosecution of corruption cases.
We all know and we agree as a nation in 2015 that by the provisions of 396 sub 2 of AJA, you can raise objection to the charge anytime. But there is a time for it. There must be an arraignment before you raise that. There is time to raise, to ask for adjournment. If you are adjourning a matter, we agree as a nation and we codified it, that adjournment must not exceed 30 days. But is that what we practice when we get to court? Is that what is we see every day in the field? I come to report to you as your servant that is not the report that we see. We will go through a lot of delays. We're not going to be shifting blame to the judge or to the court, who is also burdened or overburdened with a load of cases on his docket. But what of our colleagues who will, be pressing the judge to act in a manner that is inconsistent with what the law has said we should do? Issue of stay of proceedings, we are still seeing our colleagues making application for trial judge to stay criminal proceedings, notwithstanding the provisions of the law and judicial decisions over this point.
Legal practitioners in attendance also took turns to ask questions. There were questions about civil and criminal justice laws, international contracts, and allegations of bribing officials of government agencies.
Most of the problems or observations are interwoven. But let me start, I'm so sorry, not in any particular order, but I start with the issue of allegation of these 2 million. You see, I am not defending the EFCC. Please take that. And I am not afraid to come out against them. But I always want us to get our facts right.
Lawyers also complained about intimidation and shabby treatments from the EFCC, including not being allowed to go into the EFCC office with their phones. They urged the AGF to look into these issues.
Those of you who talked about the EFCC, we are lucky that the current chairman of EFCC is also a lawyer. People have complained 1, 2, 3 times, and as many complaints as I receive, there are as many requiring my intervention, and we have intervened. It is not always that the head will know what goes on in the states or in some divisions. But please keep, and we are not wizards. We cannot know, even if you put CCTV camera, some people will still have to monitor the camera. I want to encourage you to always speak out. It is important that you make reports.
The 2024 NBA conference was rounded off with the inauguration ceremony of the 32nd President and National Officers of the Nigerian Bar Association. At the well-attended ceremony, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Afam Osigwe, took his oath of office and was sworn in to lead the affairs of the association for the next 2 years. He takes over from the immediate past President of the association, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Yakubu Mekiao.
I, Afam Josiah Osigwe,
do solemnly swear and affirm
that
I will bear true allegiance to the Nigerian Bar Association
that I will bear true allegiance to the Nigerian Bar Association
and discharge my duties faithfully
and
in accordance with the Nigerian Bar Association Constitution
and
always in the best interest integrity and well-being of the association. That will not allow my personal interests to influence my official decisions. And I will strive in all circumstances
to
defend the ethics of the profession, the rule of law, and the independence of the bar. So help me God.
After taking his oath of office, the 32nd President performs his first duties as President. In his inaugural speech, Osigwe commended his opponents Tobena Erojukwe and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Chukwuka Ikwazom, for their decorum during the electioneering process and extended a hand of fellowship to them to join him in moving the association forward. He promised to run an all-inclusive bar that keeps the association not only united, but moves the NBA forward. Osigwe also gave the assurance that under his watch, the NBA will hold governments at all levels accountable and make sure that their policies delivers good governance to the people.
We elected into office at a time when our nation, Nigeria, stands at a very critical moment in its history and evolution. We face a multitude of challenges ranging from issues of administration of justice and the rule of law to socio-economic problems. As legal practitioners, we occupy a unique position in society, one that enables us to effect positive changes in society and uphold the principles of justice, equity, and fairness. We must ensure that the law serves all Nigerians, irrespective of their background, status, or affiliation. Under my watch, NBA shall hold governments at all levels accountable, including and especially the federal and state governments.
On the sidelines of the event, some senior legal practitioners spoke about their expectations from the new administration.
With the coming in of Mazi Alpha Mosigwe, I expect a radical change in the administration of the Nigerian Bar Association based on his past experience being Publicity Secretary of NBA, Chairman of Abuja NBA, General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association, and now President.
I have absolute trust and confidence in Mazi and Isesco. They are going to take the bar to the next level from where the immediate past president, YC Mekiawe, has ably taken it to.
And this is where we adjourn proceedings for today. Do remember to check out the Channels TV website for a replay of this episode of the program, as well as past episodes. Please also send in any feedback via our social media handles. I am Shola Sheyeli. Thank you for watching and see you next time.